Bachtis and Peter Vinsek. They do need to win the event. James Dean needs to go out in the top 16. Fredric Aasbø needs to go out in the great 8 for them to have a chance. And then obviously Aasbø needs to finish ahead of Dean by 1 or 2 spots, depending on where Dean goes out. If they go to the finals, it's going to be winner take all.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a must win for either of these guys, and of course, you know, to finish out top 3 is a great success story for any of these drivers. I mean, finishing the top 3 with some of the best drifters in the world, that is still something to tout. Piotr Visek will lead. He qualified 7th. Aasbø qualifying 10th. And here we go. Piotr Visek, Fredric Aasbø. If you can recall, if you didn't watch it, I'll remind you, Texas. Piotr Visek in the chase position, gets into Aasbø, and they go into that tire wall. And here we go. Peter Visek initiates. Fredric Aasbø right there in that Rockstar energy drink. Next to tire, Toyota racing Toyota Corolla. Peter Visek coming down on the bank into that inside front clip. Aasbø a little bit off now into that second outer zone. Peter Visek and Aasbø. Poland versus Norway. Now coming through that second outside zone. Tightens up to the front clip. Now to the outside zone. Piotr gets all the way out there. Aasbø does not. This is a dogfight. Make some noise, Irwindale.
Okay, that was awesome. Look at Aasbø pacing him down the back straight. Initiates right with him there. They both get into the bank. A little bit of a flub and a mistake from Peter right after he initiated. Aasbø keeping it tight here, not letting Visek get away. Aasbø just a little bit down on that inside clip. Now coming up on the inside, Visek deep into this second outside zone. Here comes Aasbø closing the door. Visek pulls off that outside zone at the right time, but Aasbø follows him all the way through and pretty much matches him perfectly. A great job there by both competitors. Just that one little mistake from Visek after he initiated, lost a little bit of angle there for a second, but both drivers have some areas where they can improve on the next run, and that means that those spotters can be talking to their drivers saying, hey, this is how you might be able to take him out, force him one more time. There's a lot of possibilities here as Fredric Aasbø will now take the lead against Peter Visek.
You got to think redemption in Aasbø's mind. Peter Visek, you know, he's having fun. It's kind of a win-win for him. If he wins, it's cool. You know, if he loses, it's like, I'm going to cheer for my boy James. You know, but he's won here before. Aasbø, redemption. Not only just the last event in Texas, but last year, Von Gittin Jr. and him. So just, you can see in his signature helmet, he's been rocking that Bandit Simpson since he was a kid, and he's posted up some tremendous photos of him as a kid driving Volvos and driving ridiculous cars on the ice. But here he is, you know, he's touted by Rockstar Energy Drink, Toyota Racing, Nexen Tires, all of his partners, and you know what? Couldn't be happy for him. He's traveled the world. And Peter Visek, you know, an introduction for him 3 years ago, and here he is. You know, when you're a team owner, you know, the Wordhouse thing, and you kind of throw your arm around one of the best drifters in the world, James Dean, you think like, oh, cool, this kid's, you know, he's okay, this. No, he is competitive. He's not just kind of funding the program. He is definitely a competitor, a champion, a contender for the championship. Fredric Aasbø, Piotr Visek right there. Look at Peter Visek grinding those Falcon tires in the door of that Toyota Corolla hatchback. Transitioning now into that second outer zone. How are they going to handle it? Into the second outer zone. Peter Visek rubs into the door of that Toyota Corolla. Visek makes his presence felt. The Candyman dropping some sweetness on the side of that Corolla. Make some noise, Irwindale. Woo!
Entertainment on hand here as Aasbø drops down, Visek diving right in. Aasbø on a little bit of a higher line here, a little bit more angle than Visek. But Visek used that to gain proximity on the big bank. Aasbø had a bit of a higher line and a bit more angle. However, down here, this is where Visek matches him, gets right in the door against Fredric Aasbø, taps him. Now moving around that final inside clip, Aasbø hits it, and Visek is right there. An unbelievable battle. And just to preface this, Jared, obviously Aasbø is going for the championship. If he loses here, he would obviously not win the championship, but it will not automatically go to James Dean because Visek and Bachtis still have a chance.
I love the side-by-side. This really just shows, you know, lead versus lead, chase versus chase. There's that mistake. You're just pointing that out, Ryan, with Peter Visek. But look at that chase run. He's a little lower, but just with that proximity, it just looks a little more dominant.
Well, Visek is a little bit more wiry, but he had a bit more proximity in certain areas. Aasbø is a little bit more consistent, but didn't necessarily have the degree of proximity that Visek had. This is a really close battle, and the judges are really going to be scrutinizing what the priority and the preference is here between the degree of proximity, the duration of proximity, and also the mistakes that were made. And remember, this is what happened in Texas. This is what prohibited Fredric Aasbø from really having that 100% ready car to face James Dean. And James Dean actually was not able to get it done against Chelsea Denofa. And that was kind of a saving grace in terms of keeping the point spread a little bit closer. But Visek did take out Fredric Aasbø there. Visek ended up getting the loss, but nonetheless, it is what has created the situation that we are in right now as we await the results.
Oh, doctor, you know, it's just that warrants that. It's just amazing. Oh, we're hearing. What are you guys saying? I can't hear you out there. I can't hear you. What are you saying? All right, slide him left for Aasbø, right for Peter Visek. Keep him in the middle for one more time, and Peter Visek gets the win. Peter, Ryan, Aasbø's championship hopes?
Yeah.
Pretty much out the window, Lantain. Going to you.
Yeah, all three of us agreed on that one clearly, and it came down to Aasbø in the chase made some key errors in his chase run. He was not as accurate as the lead driver was, so he wasn't following the lead driver's line as well as we'd like to see him do so. He was off of inside clip number 1, and he was also off on the early part of outside zone number 2. And we just felt that Piotr did a better job in the lead as well, going deeper in outside zone 1 and 2. And Piotr's chase, he was much more aggressive. He was closer to Aasbø, put on a lot more pressure, and although it fluctuated a little bit in terms of the proximity, I think overall he was a lot closer through the majority of the run, which is what we tell the drivers to do.
Yeah, just an unbelievable effort there.